Welcome into another 164 custom diecast video. I am your host, Doug Mount, and it's been a while since I've let you guys see this view of me, but just wanted to start this video with a little introduction and recognize those of you who have served as veterans, and just a wonderful thing to take this day and to think of you guys and to honor you guys and gals that have served. Yeah, so proud of you. I work with the Marine Corps. I've never served, but I work with the Marine Corps, and it's just an honor to be around such wonderful, self-sacrificing people. And yeah, so God bless you guys if you've served and are serving. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing to give yourself, your time, and your whole life to our country, defending our freedoms, and the joys that we have and the opportunities we have in this great land. So, all right, well, let me get on with the video and the work here. We're doing this 2021 David Starr WHATABURGER. So let me change the view and show you guys what's going on. Hold on a second. All right. Took a second to get this camera set up, but yeah, so painted this guy with the Color Shot Orange Slice, and took a couple coats to get it to where it's at. And then you have to pre-paint some white around the side skirts and the front lower valance, because you're looking at, this is all white along the bottom here. So when you line it up, it doesn't always cover everything. So you kind of need to pre-paint that area. The other thing is, again, just the way these decals and design lines up, it doesn't always line up, right, where your jack goes. And so I painted over that little black area that shows up on the decal where that spacing is. So yeah, so gonna dip this in the water here, but before I do, just like to cut these little slits here, so that, and this is a little long, so we'll be able to fold these in to the wheel well. Do one cut here with this, like so. Yep, got my hands all washed and fingernails trimmed and cleaned up. File them down every once in a while too, to make sure they're nice and smooth. They don't get any hangnails and such. Nobody likes that feeling. And then you got this little piece here, right? So this is going to go on this back quarter panel, and I think it's going to line up fairly well, although I'm not sure about that little overhang at the top for the side light right there, that little triangle. So I'm going to separate that out. Get that guy out there. So some of these, on these Supras, it's just not a perfect design against the actual car. So when you're building any Supras, you just got to be mindful of a little trimming here that's needed here and there. And I'll show you here on the back for sure. Let's get these in here. I already cut out some of these. Also got this front ready to go. And then we got the name and the logo, David Starr. Who would have thunk? From the Lone Star State of Texas. It's got his little Texas flag there. It's a Toyota. Just a tiny little Toyota logo for the B-pillar there. Alright, so when you're looking at these Supras, oh, and I got these headlights, I can put these in here as well. They're ready to roll. Just gonna make sure I got enough water here. Alright, so this decal for the banner is just a little big, so I need to trim both sides and angle it up a little bit so that it fits in there. And again, this is why you want to just lay these things out, see how they line up before you put them in the water. Not saying it's going to be perfect, right? But can definitely ward off some gross mistakes. And sometimes when the decals are a little bit too large, you can take your X-Acto knife and trim it a little bit after you've already put it in place and let it dry, but you're better off not doing that. I went ahead and trimmed a little bit of this piece as opposed to separating it out for these rear tail lights, and in that way that lines up there. And looking at this piece here, again separated out all of these pieces for the rear, that barely fits. So I don't have to separate that any further. That would have been a pain. But this large Toyota logo here across the bottom with the exhaust. Oh, and you can see my, well, maybe you can, but you can see my paint imperfection right there. And sometimes you don't have to clean up your paint mistakes or little marks in your paint because the decal does that. So, but this is a little bit big, and so instead of folding those edges around, I'm going to trim them off. Not all the way, but just enough. A little fuzzy on there too. Try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I had a uncle in the military, a brother in the military, numerous friends, of course, in the military. Cousins and the like. So it's a good day. Good day to honor those served. Alright, this is a little tricky here because you got this raised area there, and you want to try to get the name as centered as possible. So I got to trim both sides. Trying to keep track of these little tiny shavings and chuck them. A little bit too much on that side, but I can pull it over. Okay. Yeah, and this is going to be the driver's side, so I'll do this a little bit later, but the only thing unique over here is this fuel door. And I definitely like to separate out the fuel door as much as possible, just because it seems to always line up on that big curve on the side there. And unless you get the micro sole, it's a pain to try to get that decal to lay over the whole curve, because it's so small and round there. And so I just try to put it right on the side, the flat side, as much as possible, towards the top, of course, but it's just a pain. And so that's why, again, I just love separating the decals out when you're building these cars. But like I've said so many times, practice makes perfect, and, well, practice at least gets you closer to perfect. Let's put it that way. I'm not sure I've ever made a perfect car, but I've definitely in that pursuit, right? Constant pursuit, the perfect 164, all for the glory of God. Yeah, it's a little big. So I'm going to pull this down. So I think what I'm going to do is try to line up these lines here. And then what I can try to fold this here. Like that. You hear my dappy T keys going? Okay. So I'm going to get a little micro sole here. Light this guy up. Micro sole is such a wonderful product. It really makes, I don't want to say it makes this job easy or this hobby easy, but it is definitely an aid. You get to learning how to use it, and sometimes even when not to use it. Such a great product. See how I just softened up the edges there, and allows it to tuck underneath that wheel well. Love that. Love that. Mm-hmm. Wow, that lines up nicely. I really like that. It's so sharp. You guys are going to have to tell me what these WHATABURGERs are like, because I've never been to one. I have never even seen one. Must be a southern thing. You guys in the South get all the cool stuff. Alright, I'm going to pull this back just a little bit. Like that. Nice. I was working at Ryan Priest's car, or this Ryan Priest truck here. I'll show you in a second. Let me get this on here. But one of the things that I had was messing with it earlier. I was just picking it up and looking at it. You know, the decals had dried. I worked on it yesterday, and lo and behold, the name, the priest's name, came off as I was touching it. And then I had to, you know, it actually dropped onto the table here. And actually it was this side. And then as I was looking at it, I'm like, why did that just pop off, right? And then the other one came off as well, and it had stuck to my thumb. But yeah, I mean, so I quick, you know, got it wet, put them back on, let them dry, and then I just put 2 coats of sealer on it. And that's something you got to be careful is before, you know, once your decals dry, sometimes for some reason, you know, they may not be adhering well, and they're just sitting there. And so you got to get that clear sealer on there quickly in order to hold them into place. And, you know, just seal them up. So I got 2 coats on this guy, and we're good to go now. But it's just something to be mindful of when you're handling a vehicle that's decaled but not sealed. Sometimes those decals can shift or move or fall off. So just be mindful of that. Alright, on this guy, gonna have to work this guy in. Like so. Then get some microsole on him. This guy is gonna need to conform, bend a little bit down. See how it's kind of, it's coming up on the sides. So I'm going to pull him down. Need you to come down a little bit here. There you go. Let me hold on just a second here. So what I'm trying to do now that I've got it in place, I'm trying to work out these little ridges and little areas that are not that smooth, which inevitably, when you're working with microsole on a larger decal, it's going to it gets it so soft, it'll wrinkle it a little bit. And so you just gotta, take your brush and kind of work through it, smooth it out. Doesn't always work out perfectly, but that's why I like to use my fingers sometimes. You got to be careful with your fingers on the microsole, because if it's too wet, your fingers will stick. Because the microsole gets it so soft and decal's sticky, and you can mess it up with your fingers. So looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And you may have seen me do this before, but with the microsole, if it's too much and it's too soft, then you just get some water. Just get some of the distilled water and apply it, and that'll compromise your microsole and won't be as soft. Easier to work with that way. All right. Get these headlights on. I don't say I don't like using microsole on headlights, but the decal seems to be pliable enough to just kind of press it into place. Key here, though, is you can try to get it in the grooves of the die cast body, but at the end of the day, you want them to be symmetrical. I'm not sure I've achieved that. Okay, not too bad. Let's see what we got on this back side. Just kind of want to get these on here. I want to see what the spacing looks like. And then I'll kind of smooth them out. That looks pretty good. Oops. Don't like to drop them. Okay. If you see my brush, I'm going over here. I've got a little paper towel over here on this right side. What I like to do with this, of course, is to get it all the way down to the bottom. Yep. And then I can get my little side triangle decal and line it up here. It's so small. Doesn't always want to leave the plier and stick on there. Come on, stick on there. You little booger. Now he's all dry. Let's try this again. There we go. The abundance of wetness helps. Gotta watch these little guys, because yeah, they will